All right, CollectedCon. We're starting our first panel over here on the stage. Our very first panel, we're going to be talking about Sofubi. And we have some incredible artists and producers joining us on stage. Let's start, and we're going to have Bombastic Plastic come on up. Let's give them a big round of applause. Woo! That's what I'm talking about. Choose a seat, any that you'd like. I think there's only three of us, And then we've also got, all the way from LA here, we got Toy Art Gallery. We got Aaron joining us on stage. Woo! Give it up. And our favorite goblin, Wonder Goblin, is joining us on stage. And we should mention and say Candy Bolton couldn't make it. So we are sorry that she couldn't come along. So we're sending our love to her as well. All right, fellas, how we doing? Doing good? Doing good?
Doing great.
Why don't we take a minute and go down the line? You were the first one to hop on the mic there, Mr. Goblin. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do and what's going on?
Sure, yeah. I've been just making toys for about 10 years. And, I just, trying to stay present and loving life, being thankful. Thanks for showing up. It's good to see you. Yeah.
Not just here. This is online now as well.
It's online. Okay.
It's going to be shared all over the internet, all over the world. So wonderful.
All you guys out there, thank you.
Yeah. All right, Aaron, Toy Art Gallery. Uh-oh. Should be. Maybe pass the microphone then.
Hello.
There we go.
Hello.
Maybe you guys just share that one. I'm not sure. Okay.
Cool. I'm Aaron. I run Toy Art Gallery and O Toys. I've been making soft vinyl toys since 2011, probably, for Toy Art Gallery myself and various people. So I run the store. I run all the production. I do production for other people. So that's about it.
Excellent. Thank you. And Bombastic Plastic.
Hi, I'm Neil. I run Bombastic Plastic. I'm from Denver. Hi, thanks for coming.
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about Sofubi. It is a Japanese term, kind of adapted a bit in English as well. We can go back down the line. Bombastic Plastic, how did you get first introduced to Sofubi? What has Sofubi meant to you in your career? And tell us a little bit about that aspect of things.
I originally wanted to make bootleg Transformer weapons, and I looked into resin casting, and then started casting resin, and started going to shows and collecting vinyl toys, and through osmosis, found Sofubi, and it seemed like an affordable way to create larger toys, and just the process was really interesting, and the painting was really interesting to me, most of all, and just the community and this indie kind of toy market was just really interesting to me.
So what were the first Japanese Sofubi toys that caught your attention?
I started buying Elegab. They're these really weird, kind of really retro-inspired, strange monsters that are octopus buildings and black hole dinosaurs and dinosaurs with missile arms, and they're very makerly and hand-painted. Super interesting.
What years were those produced?
I don't know.
Not trying to ask hard questions.
2008, maybe, when he started. He's all self-produced.
Out of Japan?
In Japan. It's one guy, Nara. He sculpts, paints, does everything. Everything's in limited runs. It's all lottery, basically, but it's very affordable and easy to get.
Excellent. Aaron, same for you. What was the first kind of Sofubi you were introduced to, and what was your experience like when you first discovered the art form?
I mean, like most of us, I think I started with resin, but wanted to move into soft vinyl. It's the most affordable way to produce in mass. So that was kind of the goal. And the Japanese stuff I was seeing at that time was like Secret Base, probably got me into it. So
Say that again.
Secret Base.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Very cool.
Very big brand. You know,
Yep.
So yeah, that stuff is what got me into it, basically.
Excellent. And same down to you.
Well, it's funny because when I first started with, I was making like monster movies and like independent monster movies with my friends, and I was doing like special effects, makeup, and making monster masks, and I just got so, after a few years of doing that, it was so stressful, and anybody out there that's ever worked for the movie industry, it's relentless. It's just, there's no, I don't know, it's just hard to be at peace, and work in that industry. So, but I love making monsters, and I've been drawing monsters and sculpting monsters ever since I was a kid, because my parents were ceramicists, so I kind of grew up in a pottery studio just making dinosaurs and stuff. So at some point I just said, I was looking at the toys on my shelf, and I was like, I should just, instead of making big life-size monsters, I should just make little small monsters. I should just start making toys. I love toys. I should just make toys. And I just started making resin toys, and went to some conventions and networked with some people, and somebody at some point, it was Grizzly Adams, came over to me and was like, you should make Sofubi. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's talk about that. We just, I don't know, we collaborated on a thing, and then I met some other people. Met Ezra from Violence Toy. He hooked me up with a factory, and just ever since from there, I just got hooked into that form of, and I just kind of dived into like, okay, how can I do all this stuff? I like taught myself. I was like, all right, I'm gonna make my own wax prototypes. I'm gonna make my own joints, and now I'm working on trying to figure out how to make my own copper metal molds and pull my own vinyl. I want to just do it all myself. So I just love that it's that kind of thing, that you can do that. That you can. It's an art form that you don't have to work with the factory, because it is an artisan type of thing. It's a craftsman kind of thing that if you have the patience for it, and you can learn it and do it. Yeah.
And even with Sofubi, like most of these panels we've done, collaboration is a big part of the making toys, making these projects. I know you worked with Skinner, one of my absolute favorite artists ever. Tell me about collaborations, how that's gone for you. We can just go down the line, if you don't mind. Keep going. Tell us about some of the collaborations you've done and how you approach those things, and what it looks like on that end for you.
Oh yeah, I love collaborations. Skinner was great to work with. He's a treat, man. He's just like, he was so cool. When I approached him, and because I've loved his work for a long time too, and I remember I approached him and I was like, hey man, dude, I'd love to make a toy with you, and he was just like, sure, go for it, man. And I was like, cool. I love this mushroom guy, this fungoid man. Let's make that into a toy. He was like, sure, go for it, man. I was like, all right. So I was just like started sculpting something, and I showed it to him. He was like, looks great. And I was just like, sweet, let's make it to a toy. He was like, sweet, sounds good. He was just kind of like, do it, let's do it.
Sweet.
So yeah, and then anytime I work with somebody, I just try to keep the vibe cool, keep it chill. Work out all the what's good on both sides up front, so that no one's left wondering like, okay, what is my workload going to be? What's my percentage going to be? Let's just figure it all out up front. Just put it all out on the table. That's my advice for that.
Smart, very smart.
Yeah.
And even on the end, like, there's a factory in Japan, I assume, that you're collaborating with as far as them producing it, or do you self-produce here in the States?
I've worked with a lot of different factories. I've worked with Japan. I've worked with China. I've worked with Hong Kong. I've worked with some people in the U.S. Just kind of. Right now, I'm just focusing on getting my own factory set up so that I can just work strictly within the U.S. going forward. So that's because right now it's just working overseas just isn't sustainable with the current market the way it is. So yeah.
Tariffs.
Yeah, tariffs. Yeah, just there's always something.
Great. Aaron? Collaborations, what that's like,
I personally don't do a lot of collaborations with my brand. With Toy Art Gallery, we do though. That's we always we don't really design anything in house. We work with artists to produce their stuff, either for our brand with them or just as a production house. So we do collaboration in that way. You know, both
And
ways.
you import a lot from brands, Metacom
We do, yeah.
and things like that. So offering
Yes.
like Japanese produced vinyl.
Yeah, we have a storefront in Hollywood, so we do sell other brands, a lot of other brands, and other artists. We do get consignment and work with other artists to get their stuff in the store.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Keeping it on the collaborations, what's your experience been like, or the collaborations that you have worked through?
We'll sculpt for certain artists sometimes, or like do consulting, talking about, but that's just like art speak, really. I think, yeah. So, yeah. But they're good. Yeah, I think that if you can find somebody who's capable of helping you with your vision, you know, and it's organic and a positive work situation, you know, that's a pretty good way to make things.
Yeah. And so with Sofubi, the painting process, there's traditional approaches that were established in Japan decades ago. What, as far as painting, let's keep with you. What's your approach to painting? What materials do you use? And what do you find the collectors like the most as well?
I think a lot of collectors kind of appreciate the kind of more makerly handmade stuff and like elegance, as opposed to things that are like overpainted, even or painted a lot. You know, it's kind of like the traditional way is just very minimal. Like if you look at Goto-san, it's like 5 or 6 sprays and eyeballs.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd bring him up in the Sofubi
Yeah,
panel.
right.
Tell me about him. Let's talk about Goto-san.
Goto-san is like this legendary dude who is like 80.
He's
and
alive. He's alive today, painting.
Yeah, and he like paints out of this like little box the size of the stage, and you go in and he turns on the air filter, and it just is like, and you walk in, it's like air conditioning, and he's just sitting there, and he's got these huge vintage guns you can't even get parts for anymore, and it's just like, and he looks at you and laughs, and then thumbs up, and the toy is done.
Have you had the pleasure of meeting him? Have you gone?
Yeah, I went this summer. I think, no, past November. It was interesting. They're just like, you walk in and they're like tons of sake bottles full of paint thinner. And it just smells like paint. And he's just in there like a little paint gnome, you know, covered in a blanket. And it's really cool. It's like a hermitage for a lot of people.
I'm so glad that there is so much footage and video and people are documenting it and understand the importance, because same, I love to see it. I want to go experience it myself one day. That's cool you got to go.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thanks for sharing that. Aaron, so from the curating and the sales side of things, and you know what to offer, what do you feel like is most important when collectors are looking for soft vinyl, and what do you look for as far as what to offer?
That's a big question.
I know I'm trying to put a lot. You can answer it however you'd like.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I like sculpts and color. The paint job has to be something I gravitate towards. So I like specific colors and stuff. The general audience for like Toy Art Gallery, I haven't really nailed that down. You know, it kind of changes a lot. The market, you know, the collector base is kind of small, and it shifts a lot. People go in and out of the scene. Which is fine, but it's, you know, tracking that kind of stuff is, I don't really pay too much attention to it. I just, what's now is what I'm working on, and then when it changes, I try and find the next thing.
You guys import a lot of the Kaiju 1 characters, is that right?
We do, yeah.
Yeah, they do like Rambo and Terminator. And,
yeah.
Oh, those are so fun. Those are great.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's interesting like that and fun, like I gravitate towards it, so yeah. Definitely. And I've known them for a long time, so it kind of it was a natural choice to bring them.
Very cool. A lot of Metacom too?
Metacom, yeah. Metacom always sells because it's a licensed.
Yeah.
Kamen Rider and stuff like that, Ultraman. So it's always going to be popular with someone. So it's always going to sell. Yeah, Medicom is kind of difficult to work with, but they're a huge company, so they're always got something new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And Wonder Goblin, let's talk about, I guess, your painting process, your inspiration from early traditional stuff, and how you approach it today.
So my painting process is it's interesting because like my background is with oil painting. I've been oil painting for like over 20 years, and I had the kind of parents that like put me in like rec center like painting classes when I was a kid and stuff. So I was really lucky. So I've just always painted, and with toys, I love painting in simple, like the Kaiju spray kind of styles and stuff, but more often than not, like what I find myself doing when I'm like really getting into like a one-off or something, where I'm just like pouring my all into it. I just sort of take a combination of techniques I've learned over the years with like airbrushing and stuff like that, and then I go in and glaze over it. I kind of do what I do with my oil paintings, where I'll like start with like an underpainting, and then I'll like do like translucent spray glazes over that, and then I'll like kind of like dry brush something on that, and then do little details and get kind of lost and take time and just have fun with the process of it. And yeah, I don't really know what kind of style you would call it. It's just sort of a mishmash of just me having fun.
I always like to give you the opportunity. What are the actual brands of paint you use, and who are some of the? I mean, if you want to give them a shout out, I'm trying to get you a sponsorship. To be honest, that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah, let's talk about those.
Yeah, I should have said. I have my own paint company called Vinyl Wonder, and yeah. Okay, you guys are too kind. Yeah. So it's vinyl toys. If you've ever gotten into like painting vinyl toys and stuff, you'll notice that vinyl toys really only like to be painted with vinyl paint. They'll scream at you if you don't. If you try to paint them with acrylic, they're like a dog. Like you try to put a Halloween costume on, they'll shake it off.
Yeah,
eventually it's gonna come off. So
peel off on its own.
Yeah. Give it enough time, and they'll get rid of it. So vinyl paint has been kind of something that's hard to source in the U.S. for some time. There's a few other people that like have imported and white labeled and some other kind of things and stuff, but like like lure finish paint that people have like used to sort of like make their own little paints and stuff. But the reason I started it was because I got kind of frustrated, and I was just like, this is a good opportunity. I met a chemist. He was the kind of guy that he had worked on vinyl paints for like canned foods in the 70s, and he was like one of the first people in the U.S. to like help formulate like a vinyl formulation for like back when that's how they covered the canned foods. And so I talked to him about it, and we became friends, and I just got lucky meeting this guy, and he me and him worked together. I told him like what I wanted, and he worked on it. It took us about a year to come up with a formulation, and we found something that stuck and became archival. We ran it through some tests, where we did like the hot cold test, like put it in an oven, put it in the freezer, put it in the oven, to mimic the passing of time and like extreme weather conditions, and you can't scratch it off with like a toothpick, so.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. So because it is vinyl as well.
Yeah, it's vinyl.
It adheres to the vinyl.
Chemically bonds.
Yeah, you can like chuck it down the hall and it'll be. Just
I mean, it's not. Paint is paint, and like
take one of those nags and just roll it down the hall.
Yeah. There are some colors that like our clear colors. They will literally like penetrate and dye the vinyl. Like if you do a solvent scrub on the toy to kind of open up the pores of the vinyl, and then you paint it, and then like you could do anything, and you're not going to scratch that up. You could take vinyl thinner to it to rub it off, and it still won't come off, like with like the clear magenta. Some of them,
Nice.
Yeah, the pink and the red, yeah.
Same question to you down here. Like some of the actual brands you use, materials you use. Let's get you a sponsorship. That's what I'm talking about.
I use James's paint, you know, and like hobby
Thank you,
paints.
Neil. I love you.
Yeah, like in the
Sponsorship.
the acrylic resin paints, like Mr. Hobby. They're not the acrylic ones, but the hobby paints, the lacquer-based ones. I use those. I use oil paint for like washes, and then you gotta let it set forever. But it's like a good way to create depth, and then without interfering with the vinyl paint that goes on. Or you can use like acrylic washes, like the ones that they make for Warhammer paint, and then you just clear over it. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, just it's all pretty simple. Like if you keep it simple, then you don't have to worry too much with the, you know,
All right.
just
Yeah, Warhammer. We're looking for sponsorships. That's perfect.
Games Workshop. Let's go.
Very cool. Coming down the line, let's talk about specific toys that you're releasing, something that you've been working on right now that's available that you can specifically, maybe you're releasing here at CollectedCon and coming up pretty soon?
I think right now for me things are pretty slow. You know, like my wife and I have a tiny child now. We had a kid.
Congratulations.
And yeah, she's cool. So like my life is mostly that, you know, dedicated to that.
But you have toys for sale at your booth.
Oh yeah,
Let me
I got like special painted Ghoulie boys and my dogs, of course. Yeah, so a whole menagerie of my toys you can come look at, and I hope you appreciate them. Yeah.
Very cool. And Toy Art Gallery, some of the pieces you have coming in that you're excited about, something you want to promote and talk about as well?
Not 100% yet. We are working on a couple things with Martin Ontiveros. Again,
Love his work. Shout out to Martin.
A couple other artists. I'm not going to say who yet, but we do have a couple things we're going to get in production this year.
You guys produce his vampire, what's his glam?
The Glampire.
Glam, oh, it's
Yeah.
so good. Really great design.
That's a really interesting character. That's the first one we did with him, and that was hand sculpted by Monster Sean. So that was all in clay, and it's very symmetrical. If you actually look at it, it's incredibly symmetrical for being hand sculpted. It's interesting. A lot of like carved lines and stuff, so it's funny.
I just found out, we live in Pittsburgh right now, and Martin is coming out to speak at the Pittsburgh Society of Illustrators. So if we got Martin watching this right now, we're excited to see you in Pittsburgh. Anyways, that was a quick detour. Wonder Goblin, tell us a little bit about something you have at the booth that you're releasing, or something you've been working on, specific toys that you're currently making and releasing.
You know, I recently came out with a little baby Bigfoot. I call him Skunky, and he's my baby right now.
That's great.
I don't have a lot of new stuff because I've just been really busy building with my dad. Me and my dad have been building our own little toy factory in Georgia, and so we've been working on that for about a year. So I've kind of like slowed down on the toy production just because I want to get all that built and everything so that I could just really crank it, you know, and do it with my own way, you know, from moving forward. But so yeah, I don't have a lot of stuff. There is one little guy that I'm like working with. I don't know if you guys know Deep Fried Vinyl, Thomas. He's in Tennessee. He makes his own molds. He pulls his own vinyl in like a deep fryer, you know. Like I've been working with him for the past year on just like, you know, brainstorming and talking about how to do this kind of stuff, and we've been kind of helping each other out, sort of growing our little shops, you know. And he just made a little mold for me in his garage. It's really good. He did like the nickel electrodes plating and everything himself, and it's of a little like wind up walking toy that I made that's like a little jack-o'-lantern that I'm calling Happy Jack. He's got like a jackalope coming out of his like little pumpkin head, and he doesn't really walk very well because I made him too top heavy, so he kind of just like goes on the ground. Does that. So it's not really going to be that great of a toy, but you know.
Awesome. So I think one of the cool things about Japanese vinyl and Sofubi is each one is hand pulled. They pour the process. So naturally, because each one is hand pulled, they're typically going to be more limited edition. Like when you're deciding for you guys that produce your own, or when you're looking to carry stuff for your store, what's the sweet spot on the edition size, and how do you like to decide how many of the edition you like to do or release, and how do you decide that? We can keep coming down the line if you want to.
Okay, so I don't usually make more than like 200 of like a character. I keep it pretty small, and I usually keep my runs like around like 20, like for like the biggest. I've done like 40, before, and it kind of stressed me out. So I don't like painting the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I usually keep it like the 10 to 20. Sometimes I honestly, like lately, I've just been like doing really small runs because, like I said, I don't have a lot of time. So I'll do like 5 of something. Like I'll keep it small because I don't know. I just got so many different ideas for different colors, and I'm only going to be making 200 of these things, and so that's kind of how I do it. And then I just do like a math equation. I have like a little math equation for like how I calculate like overhead, with like the amount that I'm selling, the 200, and then that's how I calculate my prices. And it's all just math. I don't overthink it too much.
Excellent. Thank you. Aaron, when you guys are importing and deciding what to curate for your shop?
Like we order the vinyl in fairly small numbers, like under 50 pieces usually, but we try to keep it available. Since I do the painting myself, almost all of it, if somebody wants something that's out of stock, I'll just paint them another one. If somebody wants it, we'll keep selling it as long as we have the vinyl.
So you paint Martin's toys? You do the painting on those?
I paint almost all of Toy Art Gallery's toys.
Oh, okay. I guess I didn't quite realize that. Excellent. Yeah. So tell me more about. That's great. So you keep the numbers pretty small, but you keep them available. So you'll just whip one up if someone orders it.
Yeah. There's very few things that we try to make, collectible. If somebody wants it, we'll sell it. There's a few things that obviously have a higher price point and are more collectible, so those we do. But everything else we just try and keep it available and sell it until we run out of the vinyl.
I love it.
It's just the easiest way, and kind of keeps people happy when they find out 6 months later they can still get something that we sold out of. It makes them happy, and that works for me. I mean, it's not that hard for me to go downstairs and paint another one. So.
Wonderful. And for you, how do you determine edition sizes, and how do you approach that with your line and your series?
I think we all have kind of like a market for the things we make. Most of what I paint is like small 2-part toys, and I sell them for like $15. So sometimes I'll paint like 150 at a time. So the paint has to be really like simple, and then I can like spend a weekend doing that. And then the larger stuff, it's usually like 5 toys, something around that. But I tend to like more lean towards the smaller, more affordable stuff. It seems to do well for me.
Excellent. Very cool.
Can I say, when you were talking about the vinyl being pulled one at a time, like they do in Japan, I was in Japan a couple years ago, and there was a Medicom pre-order. And with factories in Japan, especially, there's kind of a sweet spot of like 50 pieces is good, 20 pieces is too low, 50 is like kind of good, 100's like maybe a little too much. They kind of put you to the back of the line. There was a Medicom pre-order, I can't remember the artist right now, but it was like 5,300 pieces that they sold in like a month. And I was there, and they were pulling every single day, 7 days a week, and bringing garbage bags of toys to the next factory to cut every single day for a month. It took them, and that was unheard of for quantity for
Wow.
me.
What was the toy? What was that? Can I know? Or if it's a
yeah.
secret, I'm good at.
No,
I'm not good at keeping
I forget
secrets.
what it's called. It's like a lizard. Like T9G did a version of it, and there was, I forgot who the other artist is. There's like 2 versions of it. It was one of those.
Very
But
cool.
they were just like cranking them out one at a time for.
Very cool.
And that was a single part mold, like, because sometimes they do mashigata, which is like multi pieces in one mold, and they can pull like multiples at a time. This was one head, one body every single time.
Yeah.
For a month.
I mean, that's one of the cool things about Sofubi is that it's a factory, but it is one at a time.
It's a craft.
It is a craft. It is a piece of art in itself, and I think that's also why it's has its place in collectors' minds and hearts and collections, is because it's once you learn about it, you know it's not just pumping out of a machine. They're pulling them themselves. And if you guys haven't seen it, there's plenty of video online now where you can watch it being made, and it is a wonderful, fascinating process to see, with the extra flash that has to be trimmed away and reheating to assemble the parts and all that. Well, thank you for sharing that. One of the things we've talked about on the panel, which I always think is a good thing to think about and focus, is now that we've talked a bit about your craft and how you approach things, maybe some advice that you would give to people who are looking to get into it, moving maybe from that resin and molding to moving into soft vinyl, and tips or recommendations you would make as you would consider. And maybe Bombastic Plastic, we can start with you.
Yeah, like collect toys, go to shows, like look at, vintage toys and how the friction joints work, and understand that there's a ratio you want the joint to be compared with the parts, and those rules of engineering, and there's a community of people that can kind of give you that information now. Like 10 years ago, it was pretty hard to find factories that would help you do this, and now there are a lot more slush casting factories in China that can help, and there are a couple factories in America that can help. There are factories in Brazil, all kinds of places that can help with this stuff. And just go slow. It's not like something that you would want to jump into too fast, and kind of like understand why you started this and why you're doing it, and that success isn't quantified by money. It should be fun. Don't let this break your heart. Those are the things I would think would be important.
That's great advice. Yeah, definitely. I love that. Thank you. And Aaron, as far as the painting and getting into producing vinyl, any tips and advice for these young up-and-comers?
Yeah, like Neil was saying, get involved, collect, do research, look at stuff you have, take it apart, see how it's built. Just because you have the money or an idea doesn't mean you have to make something, wait till the idea is right. I see a lot of people that start collecting toys, and 6 months later they're trying to make a toy. And you have to be comfortable with spending a lot of money and maybe not making it back. Some people aren't, some people are. So wait till the idea is right. If you've got the money and you got the idea, I always tell people to overbuild, meaning bulk it up a little bit, make it a little fatter, make it a little taller, because the parts are all going to shrink in production. So I've seen a lot of pieces just come out wonky because they didn't look at it, like you were saying with the joints, the proportions and stuff, You can get really, really skinny arms on something. It's going to look kind of weird. So just make them fatter than you think they need to be. Make it taller, make it bigger, everything just overbuild.
Yeah, do you think that's why that kind of chibi look took its place, found its place, is because it needed to have a little bit more bulk to it? And
I don't, probably. I don't know that.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, that's probably where he says it is.
Great. Any, well, let's hear your tips and advice from your own experience or...
Yeah, I mean, Neil and Aaron summed it up perfectly with the practical aspect of it all. You really do need to work within the limitations and be comfortable with that. Relish that. Enjoy that. I'm gonna expound on it by just going a little more woo-woo, I guess. Just remember, it's very important. Just try not to take yourself seriously with this. You're just making toys. We're just having fun. And also try to remember that this all stems, this art form stems from a handcrafted. This started in the 60s, with Japan when they made these kid toys, these Godzilla toys for kids, and they were just doing stuff loosey-goosey and sculpting, Godzillas really fast, on paper clay and stuff, and So get in there with your hands, and like we live in a digital time right now, and that's cool, But like if you're just starting out and you're just getting into it, like get in there and like hand sculpt a toy, like take your time. Don't think that you gotta like rush it. Don't compare yourself to some other toy maker you want to be like. Just take your time and just enjoy it, and just like be thankful for the time you have to do that. That's it.
I love it. That's wonderful. I think it's a good time now. We could transition if there's anyone in the audience that has any questions that they would like to ask. You could raise your hand and maybe come up to the front, and I can pass you the microphone if there's anything you want to ask. And if not, also, if there's questions you'd like to ask each other, which has been a really wonderful part of the panels in the past. If there's something you have you want to ask each other.
Where'd you get those purple shoes, Neil? I'd love those.
Good question.
The internet.
Oh, okay, cool.
I've heard of that. Because purple's kind of on brand for you.
Yeah. I love it.
I dig it. Excellent. Any questions you guys have for each other and your practices and what you might do? We can ask about other shoes.
We've been talking like all weekend, so I don't know. Like,
maybe a question you asked earlier that might be fun to bring up then on stage, or something you know about each other that's worth mentioning that could be fun to say.
Like Neil and I were talking yesterday about consulting, because we both kind of do consulting a little bit. Do you ever consult with people on just soft final production? You consult.
Consulting on soft final stuff? Yeah. No, do you?
do I consult?
Yeah.
Other people?
Yeah.
On something?
Okay.
If a friend asks me.
Yeah. Neil and I were talking about consulting, and what were we talking about? It just some people they just weren't ready to spend the money, or had the idea.
Yeah.
And we were trying to talk them out of it. Sometimes you have to.
Yeah, a lot of the time, like, it is like talking people out of things and being like, there is this like ethical obligation in a way, I feel like, to like talk people out of things that, not even from like a taste point of view or a critical point of view, but sometimes it's just not the right time to do something. Like, you can see things kind of coming in the future, and you just are kind of like, hey, might not be a good idea, maybe next year. Or be like, make stuff that is purposely designed for the process, instead of like taking like something and trying to make it into Sofubi. Design it for the process, and having those kind of hard discussions.
Knowing the limitations of the...
Yeah, because those are the things at the end that really can kind of ruin the experience of making the thing for you. It would suck to put $5,000 into something and then not have it functionally work and be able to be produced by a factory. And a lot of overseas factories, if the thing is messed up, they're not going to like fix it for you, and that communication might not always be there. So, those are the conversations that often you don't have to pay somebody to have. You can just like have a group of people that you trust that are
ask
going to
people
tell you
questions.
the truth. Yeah.
While you're designing something.
Those are kind of the hard things, because it's, we all have these ideas that we want to make come to life, and they're all possible, but we have to kind of sculpt them, I guess, or make them. You kind of are taking two squares and making a circle, So like, and that's difficult. That's like the most difficult thing is getting what you want, or finding out what you want.
Yeah, ask a lot of questions, do a lot of research. To generalize, the Chinese factories especially, they'll make any toy you give them. So if you give them something that's not going to work, they'll still make it for you. You still spent the money, and if it doesn't
And so you're saying you would invest, you'd get it, and you get it back, and then it just doesn't fit, and they go...
Doesn't stand up, doesn't whatever.
Falls over, yeah.
That's on you.
Yeah.
Some factories will work with you to like, depending on the person, they'll be like, hey, this isn't going to stand up or whatever, Yeah. But you need to know that in advance.
Yeah. That actually reminded me of one other thing that's been fun at these other panels that we've had. maybe this can kind of get us close to the conclusion here. Share a horror story, something that you experienced that you, as a cautionary tale. No, those are fun. I love a horror story. Something that, a lesson learned. No, we're not getting it. Come on, somebody's got to share one with us. No?
I've definitely done projects that were never gonna stand up, and they don't stand up, and from, I wasn't in control of it from the get-go. I was like, this is not gonna work, and didn't work, and can't sell it anymore. So,
Bummer.
it just happens.
That's rough.
Yeah.
But yeah, money down the drain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Either too many people involved in it or not enough people involved in it.
Yeah. Can you share a horror story experience that you've had? We don't have to be too specific.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you make molds in other countries, you have I don't know, I probably had $20,000 worth of molds in China, and I needed to get them out of China. And it was very, very hard, and it took years and years and years of this really weird dance with my factory. And I was fortunate, but there are a lot of other people that weren't. And it's kind of like, those kind of things just because, your understanding of ownership of a thing you paid for is different when you're working with people overseas. And I think that is the, maybe the equity of kind of creating a scene in America where we have kind of the same financial and cultural accountability and being able to see the people and know who they are. Because then we can have those conversations like, hey, get me my stuff, we're good, I'm gonna take it here, because you don't want to just get dumped spending thousands of dollars.
Yeah, some factories, they give you a certain price because they know they're gonna keep pulling that toy for you for years, or that's their plan. So they may give you a lower price, and if you say, I want this mold to take it some other factory, they may not be happy with that. That does happen. But yeah, always be wary of a very, very low price, because it could be backdooring, it could be incredible per piece prices, I think most of those shady factories have been shaken out now, but you can still find them.
Yeah.
But yeah, ask questions. If find a factory that's good.
Yeah. I mean, there's a community you can check in with. There's enough with the internet. Everyone's connected. You can catch.
Yeah, ask people that have done it.
Yeah, which is something you guys have said, and I think is again important to keep in mind when you're producing horror. No. One last chance. Any questions you guys would like? Yes. Good. Come on up here. We're gonna make time for some questions. All right. What's your name?
My name is Alejandro, or also people call me Tato, like T-A-T-O. My question is more or less about marketing. For example, myself, I'm trying to launch a figure, but I'm also a very small artist, and I'm trying to connect with other artists, getting my name out there. As you said, collecting, being here, I'm actually volunteering right now. So I'm wondering, what other ways do you guys recommend of getting just the word out there of my figures, seeing if people like it, seeing if people don't? Because right now, for example, the feedback that I've gotten from other creators is that it's good. They like the story, they like the figure, but for example, I want to get a broader, understanding of where I'm standing. Just as you said, if it's worth it to bring that idea to life, because it's worth it for me, but I don't know if it's worth it into a commercial way of spending thousands of dollars and putting actually the money into it. If I'm gonna end up with 100 pieces that didn't sell, right?
So a way to possibly test the market, or a way to...
Yeah. So this is what I would say. Have you ever made resin toys? Yeah, okay. Just whatever you want to make in the soft vinyl toy, make it as a resin toy, and then, like I said, hand sculpt it, get in there, really focus, learn undercuts, make sure everything would be able to pull as a soft vinyl toy, but make it resin. Design it as if it were a soft vinyl toy, but make it resin. Then release it. You know, tell people this is something I want to make in a soft vinyl. Would you like to see this as a soft vinyl toy? You know, if I make enough money on this release for this, I will use that money to produce the soft vinyl toy. Then, if you get a good interest, if people are like, yeah, this is cool, I want to see you make this a soft vinyl toy, I'll pay for that. Here's some money. You know, take that money, funnel it into making it into a soft vinyl toy. Yeah.
It's a great suggestion.
I got some good advice once too. If you're doing character-based stuff, build a fan base first. You know, do some stickers, do a comic, do T-shirts, whatever, and just get it out there so people know it exists. It's very hard to spend a lot of money on a toy and just be like, here it is. And everyone's like, who the hell are you? What is this? So build a base first. And that's pretty grassroots stuff. And you can do that through resin toys. That's the easiest way. But yeah, do stickers, do shows like this, talk to stores and see if you can do consignment, stuff like that.
Just stay cooking, man. Just keep cooking. Don't obsess too much about what the world thinks, and make the stuff you love, and do what they said, But don't just sit and be like, oh, I'm trying to push this one thing. Just elaborate and keep refining and ideating, on what you're doing.
It's great. Where are you based out of? Where are you from? Where are you based out of?
Oh, I'm from Mexico, but I come here often just for the shows also. Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks for the question. Was there one more out there? Yeah, come on up.
Did we answer your question?
Hey, how are you? What's your name?
My name's Greg. Hi.
Hi, Greg.
Everyone. Hi, Neil. You look good. I'm looking into getting into making vinyl toys too, but I just had a question for you guys. What was the first example of vinyl toys that you saw maybe growing up that maybe stuck with you and was rooted itself in your mind that made you want to create as an adult, when you have the resources you can finally create something and go, wow, I really love that as a kid, now I can do that. For me, it was I used to go to the dollar store near my house, and there was these two-part kind of kaiju monsters, but you could switch out their bottoms and their tops, and it's just so funny to see all these crazy expensive vinyls. And I used to just walk to the store with quarters I found on the ground and buy my first Sofubi characters, and then now as an adult, I think it was the 1990s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Krang android that I was I was just super inspired by that. So if you guys can remember what if you could go all the way back and remember maybe if there was inspiration, or if not, if it was just an adult thing.
Yeah.
It's a great question. Thank you.
Yeah, one of my youngest memories was my parents would get me these little, I don't know if you guys remember Definitely Dinosaurs. Yes. They had a whole line of these little soft vinyl, two-part, dinos. And they were so colorful and they were so fun, and they had just a little bit of squish, but still pretty firm. And I just loved playing with those, and also the Imperial toys, the Imperial Godzilla. That was my first Godzilla toy, was an Imperial Godzilla, and I still have that toy to this day, and all of its, the big one in the middle. They have all the different sizes, and stuff. So yeah, I loved all that, the Godzilla and the dinosaurs. Yeah.
Awesome.
You don't remember?
We went to Pizza Hut when I was a kid, and Land Before Time had come out, and they had the Land Before Time puppets. And I got one of that lethargic, stoned out Stegosaurus Spike. And I loved it. I loved how it smelled. My little hand fit in it. It had playability. And then one Christmas, my grandma bought me the big Bebop Ninja Turtle, the tall one. I still have it. And that's soft vinyl. I think it's rotocast, but when I first started getting into Sofubi, that's what it reminded me of. the feel, the smell. Yeah, those two things. Yeah, yeah.
Great question. I think that's a great way to wrap this up too. I mean, those memories. I had a couple of those puppets too. Me and my brothers each got one, luckily. So that's fun. Wonderful. Any final thoughts you guys want to share, or any last little bit you want to put in, and then we're going to wrap this up. Is there anything else you guys want to say?
Thank you guys for coming out.
Yes,
thanks for coming to the show. Thanks for your questions. Go talk to artists. Check out stuff. There's a lot of hidden stuff on the tables you may not see. So
we're just
talk to people.
Halfway through our final day of the very first CollectedCon LA. Woo! Thank you. Thank you to all of you for joining us on stage. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you, Sean.
Everybody online, thank you very much. All right. We appreciate it.